So we're at week 8. Morning sickness is completely kicking my butt for the past 2 weeks. I basically can't get out of bed without putting these on. These are C-bands. They use acupressure to help control morning sickness, seasickness, motion sickness. So I wear them pretty much throughout the day and put them on first thing in the morning. Another weird thing that I seem to be having from this pregnancy is my internal thermometer seems to be completely out of whack. I am hot and cold and freezing and then boiling hot. I can't get comfortable, so I do the best that I can. I have an ultrasound in 2 weeks. We found movers. We're moving in a little over 3 weeks. Nati started walking over the weekend. So that's like the quick update. Someone had asked about how I feel about this sudden miracle pregnancy, the fact that it took us a year of treatments to get pregnant with Nati. And then suddenly now I find myself pregnant without any kind of medical intervention. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that for the next couple of weeks, since there's really no major updates to talk about. So first of all, I was diagnosed 4 years ago with polycystic ovary syndrome, or we'll call it PCOS. Which for me meant that I wasn't ovulating on my own. So I started on metformin, which is, well, it's used to treat diabetes, but it's also used to treat women with PCOS, with insulin problems. So that jump-started my periods. Then we did 2 cycles of Clomid with the Met, and that did nothing. So we moved on to the Met with injections. One of the nice things about living in Israel is there's socialized medicine and fertility treatments. The drugs, the treatments, the procedures, the visits, the ultrasounds, everything is completely covered for up to 2 children. After that it's 50%. So I was able to go very quickly from the Clomid, which is the cheap alternative, to the more expensive injections, and that helped, but not enough. So we did 3 cycles of artificial insemination, and the 3rd was a success, and we had Nati. Now it sounds quick, and it sounds pretty straightforward, but it was basically a year of treatments. Most of us who go through treatments end up at some point resigning ourselves that in order for us to have children, it will take medical intervention. For some of us, like me, it meant injecting myself black and blue in my stomach. It meant getting up at the crack of dawn to get on a bus, to get into Jerusalem, to get blood tests, which made my arms all black and blue, and have ultrasounds to check the ovaries and the uterus twice a week. During a cycle, it was anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 to 3 weeks of going twice a week for these tests. And then it was the artificial insemination, so it was rushing to the clinic in time with the sample and having that all done. And so you learn to adjust. You learn to resign yourself that if you want to have children, this is a part of your life. You may not like it. Actually, I don't think anyone I know of who has gone through this likes it. But if we understand, if we want to have a child, this is how it's going to be. Also, at some point during the treatments, especially, I would say after 6 or 7 cycles and you haven't seen success, and it's just your period is coming back every single time, and there's just nothing to show for it except for the bruises. At some point you say to yourself, okay, well, the next one I'm not going to care. The next one I'm not going to have any expectations for success or failure. I'm just going to go with whatever my doctor says, and whatever happens, happens. Which is all well and good to say, but in practice, at the end of the 2-week wait, when your period comes again, or the clinic calls and says, we're sorry, but it's, you're not pregnant, invariably you find yourself in the shower sobbing and disappointed and hating God, and you wonder when it's going to be your turn. I was one of the lucky ones, and it eventually became my turn, and we had Nazi. And it was funny because almost immediately, especially after I had him, you start figuring and wondering and doing the math. Well, it took me this long to get pregnant, and I'm that old, and well, he's going to nurse for this long. So you start already planning the next one. And so I've gone on long enough for this time. I'll continue next week. Bye.